Well, we haven't had one of these in a while, but it's time to go into another creator feud. And this time, it's an interesting crossover between comics and music because Rob Liefeld and Adam Levine of Maroon 5 have had quite a little spat on. Wait a minute, what? It's it's a different Adam Levine? It's not the. Who is this? Oh, he works for Alvine Brand Services and Sideclip. Well, that's it. This is much less interesting. But all right, I'm already talking. Let's keep going. Hey everybody, this is Perch. Wouldn't it have been so much more interesting if it was that Maroon 5 singer guy and Rob Liefeld? Like this whole feud would have been so much more fascinating. Well, what happened here is kind of just, I'm doing this not because it's really a significant creator feud, because it's not, but it does, this encapsulates, I think, fairly well the constant back and forth that we get thanks to the miracle of social media, which brings people closer together so they could punch each other in the balls. In this case, after the very sad and tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman, Adam Levine posts a list of people I wished had died instead of Chadwick Boseman, Rob Liefeld. Okay. I mean, this is a stupid thing to say, yeah, but it's also, it sounds stupid. Of course, some people on the internet immediately took to this is a death threat, which it was clearly not a death threat. It was just dumb. Rob Liefeld points, Rob Liefeld's offended, granted, and correctly so. I mean, no problems there. And he does point out that, his kids are on social media and seeing posts about how people wish his dad was dead is unsettling for them, and he's right. No kid should have to see that about their dad. I think that's crappy and bad news, because as those kids start to weed through the internet and find kind of the various parodies or about that jeans commercial that Liefeld did, or how he doesn't draw feet or all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a nightmare out there for kids of comic creators. Anyway, Adam Levine's comment is stupid and dumb and in bad taste and whatever else you want to say. And sure. So Rob Liefeld, of course, responds and basically insists that Topps fires this person. Why doesn't Topps, the card company, fire this guy? Well, Adam Levine actually doesn't work for Topps. Used to work for both Topps and Marvel, but hasn't apparently for quite a while. So there was just maybe a misunderstanding on the LinkedIn profile, or at any rate. So there was a bunch of kind of angry messages directed at Topps to get this guy fired. And you got a picture, in this case, if you're Topps, and you start seeing these tweets come in, like you got an employee saying really insensitive things, wishing for someone's death. Well, I demand that person gets fired. Can you imagine the roller coaster of the people, like the social media director and the people at Topps, like, crap, it's a nightmare scenario we've always knew was coming. One of our employees said something really terrible. All right, let's find out who it is, and do they have any kind of conditions in their contract? Can we fire this guy? Wait a minute, he doesn't work for us anymore. Yay! Beer for everyone. That's my recreation of probably what went on at Topps. But anyway, so there you go. So then, in response, as more and more people are getting angry, and the general breakdown, I think, was about 80% Adam Levine, you're a terrible person, and Maroon 5 sucks, and 20%, hey, the guy's just joking. That's kind of how it was breaking down. So Adam Levine, his immediate response, and I'll give him credit for this, it's ballsy. He came back with I've said worse. So kind of, I technically said, that's hardly the most offensive thing I've ever posted. Get a life, people. Which, that's probably true. You got to hand him that. I admire that as a response to social media outrage. I wish more of that would go on, like when the whole cancel culture stuff really gets going. And people it's like, oh, how are you going to respond to calls for boycotts? And the person's like, I said worse, piss off. That would be cool. I imagine like people going after like Tucker Carlson on that's the Fox News host, and his response being like, I've said worse. That'd be cool. I'm just saying, I admire that response. So Tops is getting more and more stuff, and but they're kind of like, hey, we're out of all this. Um, and then Sidekick Labs had licensed some trading cards for Mars Attacks, which they're working to do. I'm not sure why, but there's a Mars Attacks trading card set coming out, which is certainly in 2020 a super hot property, but keeps you occupied during the pandemic. And George Deep, who was working on these cards, quit out of protest. He dropped himself from the Mars Attacks set. He's not going to be associated with it. He's leaving kind of that job. And then he follows up saying, over $2,000 worth of work returned yesterday. Spent 4 hours erasing dozens of card art that I could find, finished and unfinished. All this work lost because a guy couldn't be a decent human being and do his job. Okay. I mean, that's a choice. Again, it's an offensive thing, and everybody should stand on their principles. But I don't know. I mean, in today's times with work scarce and everything else, I mean, I personally would take the money and then call the guy an asshole and say his music sucks. Damn it, that's right. It's not the Maroon 5 guy. I would just kind of say the guy's an idiot and keep taking his money personally in this case. But wishing somebody was dead is not cool. Unfortunately, if you're on Twitter, I mean, I think that there's even like a pre-filled out tweet wishing for somebody's death that you can just use. I think it's part of a drop-down menu at this point. So I don't know, maybe I'm just numb to it. At any rate, so people are angry, and then of course, in weighs in Dennis Barger, Detroit comic retailer, who says, "Let me clarify this for the cheap seats, Tops. If this man isn't publicly fired, I'll never buy another product for you again." And this is Dennis, I think, showing his signature accuracy in his comments by continuing to go after Tops when he doesn't work for Tops. But okay. But be that as it may, he then continues on with naming a bunch of people. If you ever have this clown do a project for you, they will never be purchased by me, and will also receive a resounding dentist treatment, the likes your company will never forget. And having been in a room with this guy, with Dennis, and seeing the dentist treatment, I can only assume this is like a long and slightly loud, rambly bitch session that most of the other people in the room are kind of rolling their eyes out and wishing he would just shut up so you could go get a sandwich and live in peace. I mean, that must be either that or the dentist treatment is to mildly bore you to death with various idle, unenforceable threats and nonsense from a guy whose self-importance far exceeds any kind of relevancy he has in the industry. That's the dentistry. But I'm just saying, I don't know. The dentist treatment. Good Lord. Do you guys ever listen to yourselves? Like, do you like look at this and you're like, yep, I'm happy with what I wrote here. Eesh. I mean, ugh. Yikes. Anyway, he does conclude with, a weird statement, a good statement. The weird statement is, I'd suggest in a world of canceling, this ass clown received the loudest one yet. The loudest one what? The loudest one canceling? He receives the loudest canceling. All right. Whatever you say, bro. And then wishing Rob Liefeld or anyone in the industry harm cannot and will not be stood for. Now, I agree. We shouldn't wish people harm in any industry, not just comics, anyone. Wishing somebody else harm is lousy, and people shouldn't do it. Right, Dennis? People shouldn't do it. At any rate, basically going on weird little tantrums and beating your chest and all that kind of stuff is just like, yeesh. So, I mean, perhaps the conclusion to all this, of course, is that Adam Levine eventually apologized for both the post and his music. Oh, sorry, no, just the post. It's a different Adam Levine. Eventually apologized for the post and, said he didn't mean any harm to anyone, which is probably true. He was making a dumb joke that was not funny because, wishing people were dead is not funny. This reminds me a little bit, you may remember back a while ago, there was a commercial where you could control the Black Eyed Peas with a button. I think it was for Best Buy. And it's like the TV was on and or Black Eyed Peas are playing, and then you could just like mute them or turn them on and off with a remote. And it was advertising. I have no idea what it was after, like a TV or that remotes have buttons that you can push. I'm not sure. But a bunch of people saw that and then posted, if I had a remote that could turn the Black Eyed Peas off, I'd push that button and never turn it back on again. And there's a bunch of kind of counter, like, you're wishing the Black Eyed Peas were dead. And it's like, I mean, really? It's a stupid joke, emphasis on stupid, but come on. I mean, seriously, we've got nonsense all over the world, and we're gonna pretend this is a legitimate. I don't know. At any rate, it was off color. It was in poor taste. Adam Levine apologized. Good for him for doing that, I guess. And then Rob Liefeld deleted his tweets, commenting on it, and everything has blown over. And what's the moral of the story? Well, Tops dodged a bullet. Probably very happy. Guy stopped doing a bunch of work for reasons that guess seemed right for him, but okay. Dennis Barger is still a loudmouth asshole, and Adam Levine has terrible music, and Rob Liefeld is just kind of, actually the person I feel sorry for is Rob Liefeld in this, because he's trying to draw his comics or whatever he's doing, and somebody's running into wish he was dead instead of Chadwick Boseman. I mean, that's life hitting you hard. I mean, it's coming out of nowhere. At any rate, there you go. So that is the story of a little creator feud. And it really, I think that you could replace the names and pretty much you've got comics, Twitter in a nutshell. This stuff goes on every week. That's why it's so charming and we all love it. The drama in social media is easily higher than the drama in the actual comics these days, which is screwed up on all instances. But at any rate, it would have been so much more fun if it was the lead singer of Maroon 5. I mean, wouldn't it? God, can you imagine the fights? Like the comic fans coming in to defend Rob Liefeld and then the Maroon 5 fans coming in to defend Adam Levine and that kind of crossover. That would have been glorious. I look at this as the creator feud we deserved but didn't get. At any rate, there you go. Do you have a creator feud you'd like me to cover? Leave a comment below. Happy to go into it. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Follow me on social media. There's email, all this other kind of stuff. Much love, Dennis. I absolutely, you're a key part of this industry. Thanks for listening.